Jai Jinendra. Welcome to Adults Class 2, Practical Applications of Jainism. Let's start with the Nokar Mantra. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Ujayanam, Namo Vaisavasamunam, Eso Panchanamo Karo, Sarva Bhava Pranasano, Namo Sarvesi, Paramam Hare Mangala. It feels like a long time since we saw each other last. And the problem is next week we'll be busy with the lunch service.
Right.
And then we're off for Christmas and New Year's. And so what happens to our progress on the spiritual path? That is, if you're anything like me, you use this class to remind you to stay on the spiritual path. And it's not the truth, but it's not really a lie that when we're caught up in our day-to-day lives, sometimes we forget that we're Jain, sometimes we forget we're a soul, and sometimes we forget that the ultimate goal is liberation. Instead, we're focused on our short-term goals. But I've got bad news for you. You've accomplished all of your short-term goals already. That is, the things you think are your short-term goals are just excuses and lies. I think you have to leave that open. Yeah, it's locked on the outside. The things you think are your short-term goals are just excuses and lies you tell yourself to not confront the reality that you're not working on your long-term goals. So that's a pretty big accusation. I just told you that your short-term goals are fake. So tell me, what are your short-term goals?
Leave it open.
I think we have to leave that open because the door is locked.
I mean, push it a little bit more so that it just sticks to the ground. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So I challenge you. Tell me what your short-term goals are.
Making sure you get here on time. I mean, that was my short-term goal, to get here on time.
Making sure you get here on time. I think you have to leave that door open.
Maybe we should put that things on it
So clearly a fake short-term goal because whether you're here on time, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter if you're here on time or not?
Well, the kids won't be late for their class, and a few times we have been late. There's no parking over there. I mean, I'm just saying it how it is. You know?
Right. So those short-term goals, are they advancing you along the spiritual path? Are they causing more? Is the risk versus the reward in line?
No.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
just creates more anxiety, I guess. Right?
what's
Yeah.
the risk? You're creating opportunities for violence. You're yelling at your kids. You're rushing. You might cause an accident. What is the reward? You're here on time, and then you'll get the information that you could have gotten somewhere else anyway. And so, is the risk versus the reward in alignment?
But if everybody thought that way, then if people don't reach to class on time, right? Everybody's late, everybody's interrupting each other, and then nobody gets to learn. Like it's a very big distraction, right? If people are coming in while you're trying to teach,
Right.
then it loses everybody else's concentration, right?
Right. But I'm not worried about everybody else. I'm worried about you and your soul. And
Okay.
you're worried about you and your soul.
You should leave early every day, 10 minutes to just make it on time.
So I know there's no way that we could quit all our fake short-term goals cold turkey. So we're going to have to find a way to let our long-term goals infiltrate our daily life, right? First in small doses, and then taking up more and more of our time until we're only working on the long-term goals that matter. So the holidays are coming up. we likely won't see each other for a while. We have the lunch, and then we have Christmas, and then we have New Year's. So how do we keep on the spiritual path?
I mean, reading is a very effective way, I feel like, to keep one on the spiritual path. There are multiple sources, right? Like, just to, even if you are not in person in this class, you can still put yourself in that situation that, okay, now this is my 1 hour of routine every Sunday
Right.
that I do this. So this is a time that I'm going to take to myself
Right.
and just think about, or maybe think about nothing, right?
That's great. I love that because everybody knows you're busy at this time anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if we're not having class,
Yeah.
you could still be busy at this time, and probably people would do other things because
Exactly.
they would know you're always busy at this time.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Sandeep, what are your short-term goals? We just called all your short-term goals fake, and you're mad at that. But what are your short-term goals?
So I want to really start that taking out 1 hour every day for myself.
Yeah.
That is something which is not happening on a regular basis, I would say.
Mhm.
So that would be my first thing to tackle, so that at least 5 days a week I can do that to start with, and then maybe do it daily.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's not fake. That's real. I was thinking you guys would be like, oh, my short-term goal is to advance at work. That's a fake short-term goal because you could retire now. Everybody in this room could retire now and dedicate the rest of their life to their soul and not have a problem. I was thinking you would say your short-term goal was, oh, I have to save money for my kids' college. That's also fake. Also a fake short-term goal. And I was thinking you would say your short-term goals was, oh, I have to do this project on my house or things like that. That's also a fake short-term goal. Because these are the things that we create excuses for in order to not work on our soul. So when he says, I want to take 1 hour a day for my personal goals and to work on my soul, that's not a fake short-term goal. That's a real short-term goal. That's actually a real long-term goal that we all need to be thinking about. So one thing I thought that we should do is to bookend our day. In the morning, we say our prayers out loud, right? If you're saying your prayers in the evening, you're doing it wrong. And if you're not saying your prayers out loud, you're doing it wrong. Does anybody know why?
You said if you're doing it in the evening, you're doing it wrong?
Right.
So are there two things?
Time.
Sure, if you do it both, then
So are you saying that the timing as well as not saying it are both are
both are wrong?
Both
Does
are
anybody
wrong.
know why?
Yes.
So we say our prayers in the morning because we want to remind ourselves during the day about being Jain, about having a soul, about making decisions that comport with that. If we say our prayers in the evening, it doesn't help because then we go to sleep and we forget and we don't change the decisions that we would make that day. And the reason that... Hi, how are you doing?
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
We
Come on
are
in.
not, we are kind of new.
No problem, come on in. My name's Timur. How are you doing? What's your name? Dinesh, welcome. What's your name?
Preeti.
Preeti, welcome. Today we're talking about how to let our long-term Jainism goals infiltrate our lives so we stop wasting time on our fake short-term goals. And I just told the class that it's wrong to pray in the evening, solely in the evening, and it's wrong to pray mentally in your mind, and we're talking about why. And we should pray in the morning because we want those reflections, because let's say the Nokar mantra, right? What does the prayer mean?
Go down to all the
Right? You bow down to the Panch Parmestis, and then what does the second part mean?
And their achievements.
Right,
Praise them.
right. And so why are we bowing down to the Panch Parmesti? Because we want to emulate them, right? And if we say our prayers in the evening, we sleep and then we forget and we don't change the decisions we make during the day to emulate them. And why do we say it out loud? Why is it wrong to say it only mentally?
Because the way you focusing in your prayer, because sometimes in your mind you thinking something else, but
Exactly. When we activate an additional sense, that is our sense of hearing during the prayer, which we are not activating if we just say it mentally, we are creating less opportunities for distraction, more focus. And as we activate more and more of our senses, we'll be less distracted and more focused. So it becomes wrong to just say it mentally. And that's why we do puja, because puja is the physical manifestation of prayer. That is, when we are touching the idol, when we are offering the thing, when we are pouring the water, there's even less chance to get distracted because we're activating more of our senses. Okay, so we talked about the morning. In the evening, what we should do is to reflect on the decisions that we made during the day and see if we should have changed them to actually comport with our long-term goals. So you reflect on that day and you said, oh, I could have done that better, or I should have done that, or next time I'm going to do that. And then, so if we can bookend our day, then we create a kind of a cycle of accountability for ourselves, right? And then when we're faced with that decision during the day, we can remember, oh, I remembered this in the morning, and I remember I'm going to have to think about this in the evening, and I don't want to do that. So we create accountability for ourselves. So if we can bookend our day with that, we can slowly start to let our long-term goals, which are real, replace our fake short-term goals. So questions or comments about that?
So I think one of the things that I've read, again I don't have a practical data point about it, is that the reason why you also say mantras out loud, because there is generally mantras that the word Om exists, and Om is a cosmic sound, and when you call that word out, you are resonating your body's frequency with the cosmic frequency.
Right.
Again, like I don't have, but whenever I do Om, I do feel some kind of calmness in myself for sure. Deep breathe, and then when you breathe out, you say Om, and that really helps significantly. I don't know if others in this room have had that experience, have tried that before, but it does make a big difference.
Shall we try it now?
Love it.
Okay, so how this will work is sit up straight and then keep your hands, rest your hands, and breathe in deeply. And when you breathe out, you say Om, which is said to include every sound in the universe. Ready? Om. Now, monitor your mind and your body and tell me if you feel different than when we started this exercise.
A little bit more relaxed.
More relaxed?
I could actually feel the vibe, like there was vibrations in my entire body
Right.
when I was doing the sound.
Right.
So, yeah, I've always experienced this, always positive.
Anybody else? Okay, so you have one additional data point that this works. I did feel differently, so you have two additional data points. This does work. It is a technique to help you relax. It can be replaced with another mantra. So mantras work, right? And mantras aren't magic. They work. Does anybody know why mantras work? So if you get up and you say a mantra and you say, I am going to be a millionaire by age 50.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a higher likelihood that it will happen than if you didn't say the mantra.
100%.
Does anybody know why? It's not magic and it's not karma.
Sending that
Correct.
vibes to the universe, and it somehow, I mean, there's no scientific basis to it, but yeah, there have been, I think, theories proven for and against this, where they say that if you do this, or some people even write
Yeah.
it down several times.
Yes.
So they basically are telling or announcing it to the world indirectly, and it again the world gives you back something like that.
So there actually is a scientific basis for why mantras work. And the reason that mantras work is this. If you tell yourself, I'm going to be a millionaire by age 50, and you tell yourself that 5 times in the morning every day, well, what starts to happen is later on, let's say it's time to knock off work, and you have a little bit of extra time and you wanted to go do one of your hobbies. Well, what happens is because you brought that to the front of your mind that day, you'll spend an extra hour at work. And then what you'll find starts to happen is one time it'll be you'll want to go to this function, and you'll not want to go, but it's for work, and you're like, I'm tired, no, I go to these all the time, nobody's going to be there. But because you brought it to the front of your mind, you'll actually go, and you'll hand out a card, and you'll create more contacts. And over years, these decisions that you made differently, because you brought it to the front of your mind every morning, fulfill the outcome that you wanted. Because you opened yourself up to new opportunities, you did more work when you could, you created, they say luck is when opportunity meets preparedness, right? You created an environment where you made those different decisions than you would have. And so that's why that will tend to work. You will tend to be a millionaire by the age of 50. So all it is exactly what we were talking about before, where you say your prayers in the morning and you say them out loud. Okay? All it is mindfulness that you're doing every day, which is causing you to live your life differently. So mantras work, and they're not magic.
It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
No, it's not luck. It's that you're making it happen.
It's
Creating-
mindfulness.
you're creating your life.
Because you are remembering that you made that promise to yourself, and you're pushing through the obstacles that would have stopped you from achieving that.
What's the difference between mantra and affirmation?
Nothing.
They're the same thing.
Same.
I think we all, as Jains here, we understand the importance of compound interest. Right? And they say that all the good things in life actually come from compounding, right? Whether it's knowledge, it's intellect, it's relationships, it's wealth, everything becomes better, to your point, through compounding, right?
Right.
And compounding happens through these mantras, in my view.
Right.
And you give a perfect example. I love that example of the spending 1 hour extra because you resonated that with yourself in the morning, because that thing compounds over a period of time.
Exactly.
And it will make it eventually happen.
Yeah, those small decisions
Exactly.
compound over time and become a kind of a space where you expanded your opportunities and you expanded what could have been your fate had you not made all those tiny decisions over years, right? Yeah, exactly. That's a great comparison.
Yep.
Another way that we can let our real long-term goals of liberation edge out our fake short-term goals is to approach tasks with Jainism in mind. You have to do things every day. You have to take care of your physical body by showering and cleaning it. You have to take care of your home. You have to cook meals. These are things you have to do every day. But you're in charge of what you think about when you do that. That is, what do you think about when you do these things? What do you guys think about in the shower?
For me, some of the best ideas
Right?
come to me when I'm in the shower.
And that's pretty
I just
common
wish,
because
I wish I had a
you're-
notebook with me to write.
And that's pretty common because you're doing things that are automatic that you don't have to think about, and your mind wanders to different places,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And works on problems in your subconscious. What do you do when you're preparing food? What do you think about?
Think about how good it will taste.
Right. Right. You think about the outcome and what you're doing. What do you do? What do you think about when you're cleaning up around the house?
I think the reward, right? The outcome.
So you think about the outcome of
Outcome.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
So one thing is if you're thinking about the outcome, you're not living in the
yeah,
present.
yeah, completely,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Right?
100%.
And so, but one thing we can do, we learned last time about reframing, right? We can think about the Jain implications of the things that we're doing. So while we're cleaning up the house, the reason we clean up our house is because we don't want bugs, and we don't want bugs because we don't want to have to kill bugs, and we want a clean space. And the beauty of it is that each concept in Jainism leads to all the other concepts. Okay? So if you're cleaning your house and you're like, yeah, I don't want bugs, I'm doing this because I want to not kill bugs. I don't want to kill bugs because I don't want to get to karma, right? There are 8 types of karma. And then guess what? You're using your cleaning time to advance along the spiritual path, right? How about cooking? What do you think about when you're cooking? Instead of thinking about the outcome, think about, well, I'm doing cooking because, yes, I'm a vegetarian and I don't want to harm animal life, but plants are also have souls, but they have less senses, and how many sense being is the thing that I'm doing, and at least I'm not doing that. Well, guess what? Well, now you're thinking about Jainism while you're cooking, right? And so because each concept leads to each other concept, then you can fill your day with thoughts of Jainism, whereas before it would just be randomly. You'd be randomly thinking about something in the shower, you'd just be randomly thinking about something while you're cleaning, or you'd be randomly thinking about something while you're cooking. You can choose to think about spiritual progress and why you're doing the things you're doing. And the great thing about that is that's what we call an examined life, which is so very hard to get to.
I guess when you read Alochana part, it has all daily like daily kriya you do, and then it says like Chiti Adi Kajiva Vidari. So when you're grooming, you realize, oh, I don't want to harm, like I want to be as soft as possible. So when you read every day, you try to apply those in your whatever you're doing in your kriya.
Right, exactly. That's a great example.
Like I'll give you one very practical one that I actually. So I don't know whether anyone else you read this book called Think Like a Monk by J4E. It's a so in that, and in my house there's it's a clear pact between my wife and I. Like she does the cooking, I do the dishes. And there was a point in time I did not enjoy doing the dishes. I hated doing that job.
Yeah.
Right. And I read in that book, and then there was a notion of, and he apparently suffered had the same problem. Jay Shetty, he probably apparently had the same pact with his wife, and he's like, I used to get frustrated, and then like just when you're doing the dishes, enjoy the moment, enjoy the scrubber, the soap that is cleaning the dish, the water that's falling on it. Just observe how magical that thing is. Right? I started to conceptualize that for myself as well, and that has become meditative for me now.
Right.
You know? In some sense, cleaning dishes has become meditative. It's become me time, right? The whole when we talked about the me time, it has become my me time. And sometimes I listen to podcasts while doing it, or sometimes I'm just focusing on that particular activity, doing nothing.
Right.
So
by activating your senses, you have started living in the present.
Correct.
And guess what? You can live your entire life like that.
Yeah.
And that is the goal.
Correct.
To live in the present moment. To hear the sounds of the rain that are going on right now. To hear the murmur of the other class that's going on right now. To see how different people are moving around right now. All at the same time. You can live your entire life in the present moment. And that's what we aspire to do.
I think you mentioned the word retirement, right? In some of the things that you were saying. I think you mentioned we can all technically retire. Right now we have to be, right? And I was discussing this with one of the colleagues, and he made a very good point. It's like he's getting older, he's going to get retired. like, what will you do after retirement? Like, I will do something else. I'll start my own thing, because there's a mandatory age of retirement, or
Right.
something. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, retirement is, what's retirement? It's not like stopping work. Like, you won't stop doing work to retire. So I'm like, what is the definition of retirement? So he said it that retirement is when you stop sacrificing your moments, your present moments, for an imaginary tomorrow.
Right.
Right? And that is so deep.
Mhm.
When you stop sacrificing your current moments for an imaginary tomorrow.
Right.
That's what retirement is. So technically, if to your point, if we start living that present moment now, we are all retired.
Right.
It makes
Right?
it so stress free, I guess.
Exactly. Right? It's like we all have an imaginary tomorrow in our mind. That, hey, and that tomorrow is limitless. It's a bottomless pit that tomorrow is.
Right.
So what is it that you're working towards?
It's really
Un-
deep.
Yeah.
Another way, of course, you guys know about attachments and letting go of material possessions, but the maintenance of these material possessions, to put it in the context of what we're talking about today, create those fake short-term goals for you. That is, the maintenance of your house, the maintenance of your car, the maintenance of your electronics. They create these fake short-term goals for you that impede your long-term progress. Next, we should talk about involving the family, right? When we involve the family in our long-term spiritual progress, not only do they get advancement on their spiritual progress, but time that could have been distractions doing other things are now better spent on your long-term spiritual goals. So what can we do as a family?
Some volunteering.
Great. Yeah, volunteering as a family, that has tremendous amounts of knock-on effects, which is one of the reasons that it's so good. You create a sense of appreciation for what you do have, how blessed you are. You create a sense of sympathy and compassion, and all of those can be used to reinforce your Jain principles. So volunteering has tremendous knock-on effects when you do it as a family.
Take vacations, go to the park, do karaoke at home. So many ways.
But how will that
Enjoy
help
the-
us
enjoy the
along
present.
our long-term goals of achieving moksha? When we
I think
involve the
achieving most to
family
your
in
point,
those
right? It's
ways.
about living in the present moment, and those things can help us live those present moments with the family.
I'm glad you said that, because living in the present moment does mean activating your senses all the time, but it doesn't mean doing it for pleasure. It means doing it so you are not burdened by the past or the future, which can generate, the past usually generates kashayas in you,
Yeah.
and the future allows, stops you from enjoying the present moment if you're worried, anxiety. And so that anxiety also brings karma to you too. And so the purpose of living in the present moment is not for the enjoyment of physical pleasure. It's for the enjoyment of your attention being unshackled from the things that are trying to capture it.
Yeah.
And what's trying to capture your attention? Everything.
Yeah.
Your work, your phone, your family, these fake short-term goals, everything is trying to capture your attention. And living in the present moment means enjoying the control you have over your life. It doesn't mean enjoying the present physical sensations
Yeah.
of your life.
I really like her point about volunteering. Like when I'm thinking about a volunteering act that I've done with my family. No, I cannot think about a moment. Like we usually do that with co-workers and sometimes friends. But yeah, I mean the four of us my wife and the two kids, I don't remember we have done volunteering together. Like I don't know how many of us actually get those opportunities really, but that's a very good one to do together.
Sometime I feel here volunteering, like if you go to Houston Food Bank, you
Right.
only see physical like cans but you don't see the people who are using
Correct.
it.
Right.
So sometimes we understand because we have seen lives of like in India, but here kids never seen the lower income people and all that. They never experienced it how they. So sometimes even that is not enough. I feel like volunteering here at some like this
Yeah.
until unless you have a real exposure to with those people where you see them uh, suffering for every small thing.
Yeah, they should see that other people suffer in the world. You should expose
Right.
your children to that because that's the reality, and that will foster that kind of compassion and empathy for people.
And think about if we don't do that, right? Like we actually think that that's a bad exposure. We should not expose our kids to those things. You know, there's all these weird people and all that. But it's so that is such a different perspective to think about.
I guess
That it's
the only
important to
time-
expose this.
I mean, I guess honestly, I mean, the only times we do it is when kids go to high school and they have to get those volunteer hours. So we all push.
Yeah. So
them
there is an
and maybe
incentive,
sometimes
and
we
only
do it.
then we do it, which is wrong, right? To
Yeah.
Tamir's point, like it's
Yeah, it's not actually volunteering. You are helping.
yeah, it's
with
basically
your own,
getting credit for yourself, right?
Yes.
Which is it's not selfless in that sense.
Couple of months ago, we had gone to a homeless shelter place where we asked the management what do they need, and then we took stuff from here as a group. There is a WhatsApp group for which Neeru auntie runs, where she then encourages if you want to do such kind of volunteering, I would highly encourage you to join that WhatsApp
They
group.
will love that. If
Yeah,
you don't,
so my
yeah.
kids, they really loved giving, as you rightly said. When you give, when those people are walking towards you, and that smile on their face when they're collecting a simple thing like a peanut butter
Mhm.
or a cookie packet, that is something different, right?
It's huge.
When you see their living condition, meaning we also went to some of their rooms just to say hello, and the way they live in small quarters, but they also have their own life. They look, some were really happy, some were really sad. Some became sad when they saw people like us coming and giving away something, because then they start missing their own family member. Because here it's quite different, right? Like people are just left on their own. So yeah, I would.
I would love to join
Yeah,
that.
I can
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
add you to that group, and continuously there are several opportunities like that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's great. See, huge value out of this class is to know these kind of things. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
I work as a substitute teacher, and usually I go to life skills, like where you see autistic children or challenged children. So every day when I see that, I feel the pain the parent might be going through. Like every day, see your child struggling that much, and even to that child, like so that every moment it makes me feel like I'm so blessed that I didn't have to go through that pain, but I understand the pain that that parent must be going through. Or so,
Yeah.
so sometimes when you meet those people, so whenever I come home, I talk to children about, like, I saw this alcoholic person, how much he's going through, or I saw this child, and so sometimes they feel like, why you talking all about this? But I feel like I should let them know the real part of life. Like, even this is also a part of life,
Right.
which we don't have exposure to, but this is reality of life, and we should be
Thankful.
we should act,
Yeah.
thankful to what we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that people ask all the time is, well, is there a back door or a shortcut to Jainism? And they always think the answer is no, but the answer is yes. There is a back door and there is a shortcut to Jainism, and that is believing you're a soul.
Yeah.
If you believe you're a soul, you will start to see the world differently. You will start to make decisions differently, which we talked about. The whole beginning part of this class is can impact your life tremendously if you make different decisions. And if you don't believe you're a soul yet, pretend to believe you're a soul. Pretend you're a soul. And then, hey, and then see what kind of decisions you make differently. First of all, you will understand that this is just not the only life you have, but this is just one out of the many lives you have. That's the first thing. The second thing is you'll start to see minor adjustments in the way you start thinking, because you'll start thinking about, the consequences to your soul instead of the consequences to your bank account or things or relationships or things like that. And so there actually is a back door and there is a shortcut. And you'll do all these things without thinking about them. You'll do nonviolence, non-lying, non-stealing, non-attachment, celibacy. You'll combat anger, ego, deceit, greed. You'll do all those things without consciously thinking about them, if you believe you're a soul. And that's one way to let our real long-term goals push out our fake short-term goals. Questions or comments about that? Another way is to practice reframing. We talked about that last week. That is, we imbue events with meaning. And we can change that meaning, whether it be good or it be bad, according to what we want. And so if you, let's say you're stressed at work, you can view that as an opportunity to practice Jain principles and incorporate that as part of your spiritual progress, instead of just viewing it as work stress, right? You can view things as an opportunity to implement Jainism in your daily life. And there will be, and we're coming up upon that time, right? We're not going to see each other next week. We're going to do lunch service. We're not going to see each other Christmas or New Year's. And so we won't get that shot in the arm of, oh yeah, I remember I'm a Jain. I got to go out there and make decisions differently. Because it's very easy to do that when we're within these four walls, right? The hardest thing is going out there and it's going to be raining and you're going to want to get the kids together and you're going to want to head inside and you're going to forget everything we talked about in this class, right? But if you use events as an opportunity to practice Jainism, then you may have the ability to change your life. Other questions or comments? Okay, so we have Preeti and Dinesh. Welcome to the class. I really appreciate that you're here. Can we go around and introduce ourselves and where we work? This class is to help us professionally as well as spiritually. And so if you hear anybody that's in your field or anything like that, we're always open to helping each other at work and things like that. My name is Thimer Chedda, and I'm an attorney at Sullivan Munson & Lerner. I am a IP attorney, so I help people get patents, copyrights, and trademarks. Let's go around this way.
My name is Arpana Chedda, and I work for a company called CFGI, and I am a finance consultant.
So my name is Samir Sangani. I'm a investment person. I work at a company called Guggenheim Partners. So they're LA based, but I work remotely here.
Awesome. Kunal Kothari. I work with a company called Ernst & Young. EY, the big management accounting, audit consulting, assurance company. So I've been there for 12 years, and I really enjoy this class. One of the reasons is I initially joined this from a professional angle for some reason, I don't know, but then it has become 80-20, 80 spiritual,
That's great.
80 spiritual, 20 professional, right? So that's a little bit about me, guys.
My name is Punit Shah. I work at Two Sigma Investments. It's a New York-based hedge fund.
Hi, my name is Sandeep. I am an ERP consultant in IT and I started on my own last year.
Hi, my name is Chintan Mehta. Work in the oil and gas industry. Work for Enrich company, energy provider.
And we met you, but let us know what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a chemical engineer by profession, oil and gas. I work as a chief technology, process technology in Wood Group. It's basically a design consultancy firm for all these oil and gas companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys are our clients.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I.
Right.
My name is Preeti Kasliwal. I'm his wife. I work as a substitute teacher in KTISD.
My name is Dirshna Shah. I'm an IT professional. I work for Success Academy Charter Schools based in New York.
Hi, my name is Dhara Thakur and I work as a lab technician in Memorial Hermann Southwest Hospital.
Hi, my name is Shital, and I help my husband. He's a CPA. So.
And are you part of the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I
you
came.
Yeah, a couple
I'm
times
not,
ago,
like,
right? No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, okay, great. And then if you want, I can add you. Just give me your number after class ends. And so we got a little time. Do we have an update for next week?
Next week, I think from a sponsorship perspective, I did get responses from almost everyone. And we did rename the old the February lunch group to December 15th lunch group. So that's on the sponsorship part. I think from a menu part, Nick was checking on that full fingers thing and he responded to that. I guess we need volunteers on Sunday morning.
Okay.
Here.
Do you know what time we should come
Yeah.
report on Sunday?
I think definitely we need some volunteers here before 7.
Right.
That's what we were discussing last time and I think we took picture.
Yeah.
Put it
yeah,
on the
yeah, it is in
group.
the group. Exactly.
Let me check.
The group that you're using is called the December 15, 2024 lunch sponsorship.
Yeah.
Everything on there is about menu and help and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you put on the main adults class?
No, I think it.
I think they added us. I think Sandeep added us.
I didn't see anything about
No.
time or who's going to
Yeah,
come.
so we are gonna communicate the time a little
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
but definitely,
Around
like you
7.
said, before 7ish and then
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
7ish, and probably even allocate responsibilities like who's gonna do what or if someone wants to sign up for something. I know Nick mentioned in his message about Payal Patni not being available, so I didn't get a chance to connect with him.
Not available. Sorry.
Payal Patni
Payal
was-
Patni, okay.
had some conflict or something.
There's no one else
Was
in the
his
kitchen
last
available.
message?
Was she supposed to be doing something?
She's supposed to help us like as part of the kitchen liaison,
With the
but
recipe.
everybody else is on vacation next week, so there's nobody to help.
Yeah.
So that's why he's trying
So
to.
he's
ensure,
looking
like,
for
we
some
don't want to go
backup
in there and like burn the
info.
kitchen down, right? So.
Oh, the
Yeah, especially with
all the
frying
kitchen
pan
committees on
was-
vacation.
That's right.
Yeah, frying part was taken care of, but I think the main thing was making hummus and falafel patties being a Mediterranean menu. So everything was going to be made fresh and it has to be made after 5 o'clock in the morning, including starting to soak the garbanzo beans as well. So we cannot use canned garbanzo beans.
I think another open item is
The dessert.
figuring out the dessert, and then once we know what that is, then I can create the menu,
Yes.
like the flyer.
Yeah. So maybe I'll update the group. I'll talk with Nick, and if need be, if we can arrange for a mutual time to get on a call for 30 minutes or so during one of the weekdays, then that way we'll be prepared for the upcoming Sunday.
We have to buy stuff in advance. I don't want to do it on like Saturday night,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, let's see how that goes. But yeah, point noted.
But if we're going to be frying the falafel bhajiyas, right? Is there people there who are familiar with those equipment and the?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna. All right.
The last time they didn't have anybody. Remember when Mira and they did, because the whole the kitchen
Puri things.
puris.
Yeah, puri was a.
But that was
different
also for frying, right?
Well, I know, so I was a little bit confused too because during the puri time I was involved as well. So I don't know why it is okay this time and not okay that time.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to probably do more than couple of thousand puris, so that's why
It was
with
okay for
falafel
to
it
do
would must be about
No,
probably
no,
1,000
I didn't mean
dishes.
it to do it early. I just meant
I-
that we couldn't fry it here because the committee wasn't here.
Yeah, but,
But
I
are we still
sup-
okay to fry it on Sunday?
That's my understanding because
Okay.
Payal was going to be here, but now if Payal is not going
Yeah.
to be here, then we don't.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then there'll be a lot of budgets to
So,
fry.
so what is this? Why is Payal important? She has a certification or something. She's certified. That's why it's important for her to be there. Like, what is the
I think she's
constraint?
aware of both from a menu perspective as well as the kitchen over here because she helps out
Okay.
with other ambel and other stuff as well.
Okay.
So probably that's why. And then also from a menu standpoint. other than that, I would.
So looks like we need to just do some more digging here.
Yeah,
I like your idea of the call.
Yes, yeah.
I wonder if it's possible to bake the falafels if frying is not an
It
option.
would take too long though, right? 'Cause
Oh.
you can't. How many can you put into the oven at once? Like 50, and then like half an
Mm,
hour,
it
an
has to
hour, and then
go
you can't
for-
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baking
They
is
go
not
through
an
that
option.
with throughput.
Is
Yeah.
air frying an option? Air fryers? Do you bring air fryers?
Yeah, air fryer.
Those are very small throughput too.
You
Yeah,
can only
same.
make like
Yeah.
10 at a
10,
time.
10. 10 at a
Time-wise
time,
also
yeah.
again almost 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, good ideas. I also have a portable stove I can bring, and if the weather is supportive, we can do
Yeah.
some frying right outside as well.
Exactly.
Any other questions, comments, or announcements? Thank you so much for your time this week. I really appreciate that. I don't get you that often. I only get you an hour a week, and it's not every week as we talked about. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.